Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Good evening, race fans, live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on this Sunday evening. It is Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Season 5 action for Chase Race 2 and Round 21 in this 2015 racing campaign for the JMP Custom Cycles 250 at the Brickyard. Up in the LSRTV broadcast booth alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, is Carl Jones, and always our executive producer this evening is Laura Lawson. Carl, coming off the first race of this 12-driver now championship, we get set as the field is just now pulling down pit road. They're going to get up behind the pace car, and then we will get rolling as Terry Hurley will be piloting that pace car down at the end of the pit lane here to get this 250-miler kicked off.
Yeah, don't adjust your sets here, ladies and gentlemen. We do have fog on the racetrack here today. It's a little bit foggy here, so it's going to be kind of interesting for these drivers out here. It's going to be interesting for Laura up there in the booth trying to keep up with all these drivers and cars out here in the fog. But, yeah, it's going to be an exciting race here. This is race 2 of the championship race to the Cup. And give you a quick rundown here of the top 12 in points here. After the first race, we got George Bark, Nicholas Doucette, Michael Churchman, Ryan Borges, and Dominic Dyball are in the top 5 in points. Nathan Sedlak, David Wenk, Damon Gilbert, Dylan Eckhart, Dan S. Bailey, Brandon Cruz, Monsivice, and Dustin Lee round out your top 12. So they are the top 12 drivers that are racing for the championship points of the season.
And we started with many more than just 12. We have seen our fair amount of drivers throughout this championship, but again, only 12 of them now eligible as we come down towards these final 5 events and really getting things underway. You talked about the championship standings as they go. The championship standings just happen to be the results from 1 week ago. We had the NASCAR Xfinity B Series cars out in Fontana, California to get this championship officially kicked off. And now that the field gets set to roll. And again, the honorary pace car driver this evening out there is going to be Terry Hurley. We get set to get this 100-lap affair underway. You take a look, technically it says 102. These first two we're going to be under our custom caution laps here behind the pace car, so it is a 100-lap and 250-miler event around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The pace car rolls down onto the access road in 1 and 2, and that means the field rolls out of their respective pit stalls in said order. And let's give you the full field rundown and the grid presented by today's title sponsor, JMP Custom Cycles. Pole position, give it to the young phenom, the 51, and Nick Doucette rolls with a 39.651, topping the charge alongside him, Brandon Cruz-Mossavais in second.
George Barks is going to be pulling out in third position. The fourth position is going to be Michael Churchma with a really nice qualifying run today.
Nathan Sedlak will roll from the inside of row 3 in P5 in the 35 machine. Alongside him, that's the 68 of Damon Gilbert in 6th.
And the 39 machine is going to be Salicardi Jr. And in the 29 onto his outside will be Dylan Ackhart in the 8th position.
Continuing on down through the 00 of James Brown, will start in the number 9 spot, rounding out your top 10, the 99 of Charles Starks.
The Iceman, Kevin McCarthy, is back for his second race of the season here in the Indy cars. He's going to be rolling off in the 11th position. To his outside is going to be Colton Berkey.
On through this field, Dominic Dyball will start in the unlucky number 13 starting position, 14th to the 01. That's John Pansula.
New driver tonight in the 61 is going to be Ronald Hacker. To his outside, is going to be Ryan Borges.
Next row on back, how about Gordon Berkey? The 37 team will roll from 17th and 18th, the 08 of Dan S. Bailey.
Joel Woods and Patrick Baudouin, but I can't pronounce his last name, but I do it wrong every time. They're going to be rounding out our field in the 19th and 20th positions.
And that 18 to Patrick Baudouin, he is at the back of the pack via a black flag for intentionally bringing out a caution flag 1 week ago. One lap to go, as we're actually going to have to extend our caution period here at the start. So this technically, if you talk about a race that starts under a rain delay, Carl, technically this counts as lap 1 of our 100 laps when we go green and actually take the green. So it's going to be 99 to go at said point. But the pace car leads the field down, and after getting the white flag, Terry Hurley piloting that Trading Paints pace car up at the front of this field. We get set to get this one going with everybody stacked through. 20 cars going to be competing in this event at the Brickyard, and also this is the final time that Cora is going to be using these Dallara Indy cars, the circa 2011 chassis. At the end of this season, rolling into the next campaign, Carl, they switch over to the DW12, so it's the final time we'll see these Indy cars on track.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting next year to see them come out here in the DW12 car. But that's the reason that Kevin McCarthy was explaining to me earlier today, that they had the fog on the track. He just wanted to bring out kind of what it feels like at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway there in the mornings when you first get there. The bad part of this whole thing is this fog won't lift. This fog is going to stay around for this entire race. So it's going to make it a little bit more interesting out here for these drivers to be going around the track. I was out here in a practice session earlier, and I was just noticing when you come up on a car that's in that fog, it kind of just pops out at you. And at the speed these guys are going, if there's a wreck that's happening out on that racetrack, they could come up on you really quick and not even know that the wreck is happening.
It is the Brickyard. It is such an iconic racing facility, 2.5 miles long. We call it an oval. Technically a triangle, 4 sets of 90-degree corners, a short shoot down in 1 and 2, another one in 3 and 4, and 2 very long straightaways. The pace car pulls off. We get set to go. Green flag racing. We're glad to have you with us on LSRTV. Chase race 2 of 5 for the season 5 championship down across the yard of bricks. Nick Doucette brings the JMP Custom Cycles 250 under green flag conditions down to corner number 1.
Really nice start there by Nicholas Doucette, able to get a good jump on this race and or on this field. And from what I've been understanding here, the guy who is the leader of this race is going to be the one that's going to be just probably walking the dog out here on these rest of these guys, because there is a lot of bad air with these cars with this setup that they have in here. It's really hard to pass. It's really hard to be in behind somebody. So the best thing you want to be doing is out in the lead for that fresh, clean air pushing down on your car.
You see one car finds himself stuck up on the high side as we work down the back straightaway. Now down the front, actually, it's the 54 of Brandon Monsavice. He's got a lot of company to the inside of him. You'll see they go up to the fence down the straightaway, but in the corner, you want to be able to have those left side tires down on the inside of the white line. He is finally able to do so, not after dropping back, though, substantially. Now in front of these guys, side by side, Nick, it looks like actually Nathan Sedlak, a little bit slow off the corner. Michael Churchmo wanted to make a move on him. They got very close. Now the 88 car's checked up. McCarthy and Monsavice will pass him down the back into 3. Nick Doucette, who started up at the front of the field, continues on going now 0.3 of a second to the good out in front of everybody else. That's where you find George Bark, who took home the checkered flag just 1 week ago in Fontana, California, looking to get a championship. Oh, he's in the wall. George Bark, trouble down through corner number 1, overdrove that, the right side of that car rather, into the outside retaining wall. These cars get very, very tight. Bark slows down the back straightaway. The question is, how much damage did he really do?
Yeah, like I said, I was out in practice earlier with these guys here, and if you don't hit these turns just right, you get that, it just wants to wash out right out to that outside wall. And seeing George Bark do that, that's where you don't want to go. We have another car in the wall, hard impact.
And wrecking behind these guys, who side by side up the front of this field, no caution. We stay under green flag racing conditions. We're neck and neck now inside of the top 5. They stay green. That battle was Dylan Ackert and Nathan Sedlak for second, third, and a fourth place car as well. The 30 out of Salicardi to the inside. Sedlak jumps out of line and nearly takes the front wing off of that Accardi entry. Now having to back off down into corner 3. Sedlak not going to be able to get the job done that time through, but a very aggressive move. All these guys fighting inside of these top spots. We get another car in the wall. Trouble. Dan Bailey hard into the front straightaway wall. He is turned around and facing the wrong direction. That car again had damage after contact in 4, spins it out, takes a toe to pit road by escaping out of the sim. No caution, we stay green because it was in the back.
Well, that's 2 big incidents now that we've seen on the racetrack where we've had no caution flags. So up here to the front of the pack right now, Nicholas Doucette has walked away with this now. He has a 1.794 lead on this field and just pulling away every lap. Everything that Dylan Ackert can do to just try to keep any kind of an inkling on where he's at on the racetrack right now, because Dylan just seeing him getting smaller and smaller and smaller out in front of him.
So now we sit with 19, now 18 cars on the lead lap after the trouble for Dan Bailey, and as well the earlier issues that we talked about for Gordon Berkey in that 37 car, who had trouble down the back straightaway coming out of 2, had hard contact. We said that they were wrecking in the back. No caution for that, nor a caution for the 08. Clean and green up front. You said, Carl, that the guy at the front of this field is going to be able to dictate the pace of this race. You go to a racetrack in these Indy cars like at Iowa, a smaller oval, and there's only one line around, so if you have the inside, you're good. Here, it's more about the aerodynamics that help you be out front, because Nick Doucette is good by 1.9 seconds, now 2. Over the cars that sit well, P2 on back. That's Dylan Ackert and Salicardi. They still fight inside the top 3, but the more they continue to do that, and the more that 51 just holds a steady line up front, the more he'll set sail up front.
Last time down the backstretch, the only racing I really saw there was Brandon Monsavice got to the inside there of Nathan Sedlak, but it wasn't much of a race. It was over really quick. It's just happened one more time now. Nathan Sedlak pays him back, gets right back around Brandon Monsavice for the 5th position, so put Nathan Sedlak up into 5th.
McCarthy continues to trail the back of Dylan Ackert. Looks to the inside into quarter 1. He'll be able to get the position and give him the spot. So now move Salicardi, who started this race in 7th position, up to the number 2 spot. That slides Dylan Ackert, who started this race in 8th and picked up 6 spots to get to P2. Now we'll go back to P3, but still 5 in the positive from where he started. These guys are good as far as 2nd and 3rd. To really everybody else, 4th, 5th, 6th on back. There's big packs of cars. You got a set of them between 8th and 10th position. Guys like Dieball, Borges, and Churchma all together there. The last car to lead lap, though, was all by himself right now. That's the number 79 of Joel Wood back there, 18th position out of 20 that started this event. But so far, Nick Doucette is enjoying the way that these things are going, coming off of a third place 1 week ago in Fontana, California. And the big news for him as well was the issues for George Bark, who has now slid to 16th, Carl. He won 1 week ago, was riding in second, and just as I mentioned him, he caught the fence pretty hard, and it continues to hurt him this green flag run because he's lost now 15 spots since.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the drivers I was talking to earlier today was James Brown out there in the 00 car, the Cora car. He said he thought he had something for these guys today, but he was the fastest in all the practices today, and well, it just don't seem like he's got what he thought he had, because now he's out here in traffic, and he's right behind the Kevin McCarthy number 44 machine, the Iceman, and it doesn't seem like he's able to do too much. He is getting down to the inside of Kevin McCarthy, but Kevin McCarthy looks like he's going to have the run on him here coming out of the turn, and looks like actually Dominic Dieball's going to look to the outside now of the 00, and he's going to make that pass for the fifth position, excuse me.
This race now past the 1/10 of the way through. It is no walk in the park to do 100 laps at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, correlating around this 2.5-mile speedway to 215 miles. Caution flag now flies. We got trouble somewhere on track. Caution is out. We got somebody slowed down on the apron. That is the Gordon Berkey entry. He has just rejoined the racing surface, but nonetheless, the caution flags have triggered as the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car gets off. It is Charles Starks in the number 99 machine with said issues. Was running, actually, well, scored right now, but 18th. It appears he was running 13th and had trouble down in corner one, Carl. Again, the car's getting tight. He gave the inside up to Damon Gilbert. Starks on the outside, and well, once you're up there and you're added that darker area of the asphalt here where there's not a lot of rubber down, that thing just went straight to the fence, much like we saw happen to George Bark over the right side suspension got torn up. He bounced off the fence a couple of times, actually split it once he exited two. He's on pit road just now, exiting after having to come down to get some damage repair, but we are under caution for the first time this evening.
Yeah, I was just watching that Charles Starks car as he was coming down pit road. His car was very askew. It was actually kind of pointed to the right. It wasn't facing the way it was supposed to in any way, shape, or form. He was able to get in there and get that free repair done on his car, got the car straightened out. He's back out on the racetrack now. He is going to fall back to the 18th position. I don't think he's going to go a lap down, but he's going to be really close. But what this one big story this did totally wipe out the big lead that Nicholas Doucette had. He had over a 2-second lead over the Salicardi machine out there, and it is now down to 0. That has totally vaporized. So Nicholas Doucette's going to have to start over and do this one more time.
He made it look easy the first time around, and he had a little bit of assistance in doing so, again, because we saw a lot of fighting going on for second on back. And you posed the question there. It is going to be how easily can he try to make that same run again, because he was gone. 2+ seconds by yourself at Indianapolis. Not the easiest thing to do. You see Nick Doucette, he comes down to pit lane with everybody else, and we'll get our first round of pit stops in this evening's chase race number 2, the JMP Custom Cycles 250. To note, Brandon Monsivice stays out. Kevin McCarthy stays out. A lot of guys staying out. However, the top 5 at the start-finish line the last time around before we got a yellow, they are all down pit road. They're led by that 51 Nick Doucette. He pulls into the number 1 pit stall down at the very far end of the pit lane. Doesn't take a whole lot of time to get 4 tires, fuel, and go. About a pit time delta of 7 seconds. He comes in, fills it up, gets fresh tires, and he's back out on 4 new Firestones as Nick Doucette exits P1. Will come out the first on the pit lane, but you saw down the front straightaway, not everybody came down pit road. Almost a split decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Cruz Monsivice in the number 54 car stayed out on the racetrack, did not pit. He started in the 2nd position. He had fallen back through the field. He was back probably around maybe the 6th or 7th position before this pit stop. And now he's back up here to the front of the field. So he's going to be to the inside. If he can get that good restart, he might have that chance of getting that big lead, much like the Phenom did there earlier on. So we'll have to see. But they got the Iceman. He is sitting right there in the 2nd position now. So that's moved him up. And he is the IndyCar specialist, we want to call him out here. And Kevin McCarthy, he knows how to wheel these IndyCars around these racetracks. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get up here and get his nose out in the front, and maybe he might be the one to take off with this.
You look at this championship picture, we went over the way they stack up after 1 of 5 races at the top of the show here, but you got to look at these names. George Bark, Dominic Dyball, Nick Doucette, Michael Churchma, John Pansula, Dylan Acker, David Wink, Patrick Bedoin, Ryan Borges, Joel Wood. The top 10 from 1 week ago also include drivers into that mix in the championship standings. Bark, Doucette, Churchma, Borges, Dyball, Sedlak, Wink, Gilbert, Ackert, Bailey, Monsivice, and Lee are the drivers that are in this championship. You know it's pretty stacked when you look at it. 2/3 of these guys that are in this chase have gone to victory lane so far, Carl. The question is, if you're one of the drivers that has not, David Wink, Dylan Ackert, Dan Bailey, Dustin Lee, can you win this championship without winning a race?
It can be done, yes. I mean, it's just going to be consistency. You got to stay consistent. If you can stay out there, finish in the top, maybe 5 every week for the next couple of weeks here. Yeah, because these guys who win races, they can get in trouble. They can have problems, be knocked out of a race, finish dead last. So absolutely, yes, you can come from a Dustin Lee position to the 12th position and come up here and win this championship. I can see it happening without even winning a race. Yes, so absolutely, I don't see a problem with that.
Something else that is kind of strange after I read through those names, that everybody that does not have a win, their name starts with a D. In case anybody's into the kind of funny coincidences that those all the drivers that have all the drivers that have yet to win, their names will start with a D. You got Dominic as well. You have David, Dylan, and guys like Dustin and Dan as well. So kind of strange, to see such a thing, but you look at it, and a guy like a George Bark as well. The lights are still on the pace car. We do anticipate that to go off this next time by the start-finish line. Very interesting to see that, because George Bark came out swinging at the top of this championship way back in round 1. Tacoma checkered flag, had a rough patch, went back to victory lane a little bit later, and has been strong. So when he comes to play, and he's up there and he's fighting for it. However, we have to see what he can do with this, because again, had big troubles at the start of this event, caught the fence by himself. It looks like he's actually going to be coming down pit road. He is by himself one more time. As he's at the back of the pack, he looks to make his way back up to 3rd where he started. Was also 3rd fastest in the practice session, but again, car got tight, caught the fence, and that could be a huge hit to his championship hopes after entering tonight topping the pile. Lights are off on the pace car.
Well, Evan, one of the drivers that we should be talking about right now is the guy who's sitting 6th place in the points right now, and he is 10th on the racetrack, is that Nathan Sedlak. He is not accustomed of being mired back in the points. He was up on the top of the points list all season long, except for maybe the last couple of races. I think he might have dropped a second. But, he is sitting back here in 6th position right now, something he's not used to doing. And also, he hasn't been having the greatest of finishes here the last couple of weeks, because he did drop out of the points championship, or not out of the points championship, out of the points lead here later on in the season. And now he's sitting out here in 10th, and he's sitting 6th in points. So Nathan Sedlak, not accustomed to these kind of races. Usually you see him up in the front and winning races. He has, I believe, the most wins on the season.
And the lights are off, so we're going to go back at it. 17 cars are on the lead lap out of 20. The guys that are on for the lead lap, 1 lap down, a lucky dog spot would go to Charles Starks into number 99 at 18th position. 2 laps down in 19th, still on track, is the 08 of Dan Bailey. And then the troubles for Gordon Berkey. He is still out there, but significantly further back. He is -7 compared to our leaders as he works on lap 11. Brandon Cruz Monsivice, who tops the field, works on lap number 18. They'll take 19 this time across the start-finish line as we get set to go back. Green flag racing from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You're watching Cora Sunday Money Chase Race 2, the JMP Custom Cycles 250 at the Brickyard. Green flag now back out down the front straightaway. The 54 of Monsivice brings us under power on the inside lane. He'll get cleared. The battle comes for second. How well can Kevin McCarthy hang on the outside at side-by-side second? And now he'll drop in line for 3rd. Give P2 to Dival.
much like the start of this race here, Brandon Cruz-Monsiváis did get a nice start, but Dominic Dieball is going to be right up here on his back wing, and he's going to be getting a lot of really good draft coming up here. He's going to see if he can maybe do a slingshot coming down here into the turn. He's not going to be able to do anything with him. He tried to take a look to the inside, but Monsiváis cut him off, and he was not able to do anything. And one more time, he's going to get back into that slipstream. One more time, he's going to get back up here and see if he can do his slingshot coming down here into turn 1.
Trouble behind these guys. Caution flag is out down in corner number 4. Gordon Berkey, a driver that was sitting, significantly down. He has some issues after a big checkup in front of him. Dan Bailey trying to see who this is. It appears to be the 08 of Dan Bailey. He has trouble after everybody checked up going into corner 4 at a big rate of speed. Dan was lucky to not pile drive Patrick Badoin, and it looked like just a big accordion effect. Unfortunately for Gordon Berkey, for the second time tonight, comes flying in at 225 miles an hour, cannot really see all that far ahead of him. This is that fog coming into effect, Carl. Can't see all that far ahead and just plows into the back of the guys in front of him. Hard contact for the second time tonight. The car 7 laps down now. Gordon Berkey in trouble, this time in corner 4.
Yeah, it looks like all Bailey did there, he just got into the rear end of the Charles Starks car there, just like you said, it just accorded everything up. And Gordon Berkey just had absolutely nowhere to go. Didn't see it coming. He was coming into that turn at full throttle. And, Bailey wasn't. He was just about at a dead stop there. And, yeah, that's a total shame for Gordon Berkey. He had high hopes for today's race, and now he has used up his last repair. Now he's got his car fixed. He's coming back out on the racetrack, but he is 7 laps down. And actually, I think he's pretty much out of this. He's virtually out of the race. He has no chance of getting up here and doing anything with him. I think he's just going to go out here and see if he can get some points, because 13th in points is a payout position. It's the highest paid in the bottom 20 of the points race. So 13th, you still walk away with some money, so it's a good thing to stay out on the racetrack, see if you can pick up as many points as you possibly can.
As we work on our second caution flag, we are now 1/5 of the way through, and we will take the first caution flag of our own and throw it to a commercial break. You're watching Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Monday Season 5 action on Live Sim Racing TV. More from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the JMP Custom Cycles 250 continues.
The outside contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Cars are lined up on the grid. PRE.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn 1 for the first time.
Back live at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a heavy fog still sits over the Brickyard. You're watching race number 21 or 24 and the Chase Race Event 2 of 5 in the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Monday Series Season 5 on LSRTV and powered by iRacing.com. The JMP Custom Cycles 250 is approaching the quarter distance in this event, currently working under a caution flag at lap 22 of 100 up in the LSRTV broadcast booth alongside of myself, Evan Pasoko, Carl Jones, and everything. We take a look at our, our official numbers. We're working lap 22. Technically, it is lap 20, Carl, because again, we do need to keep in mind, although it is a 100-lap event, because of the additional honorary pace laps at the beginning of this event, with Terry Hurley piloted that JMP Custom Cycles pace car. We are racing to lap 102, so we do need to keep that in mind before we Marty read it at the end and call the race early. There are technically on the ticker 102 laps in this event.
Lights are off on the top of the pace car right now, and after that last run, I'm really keeping an eye on the Dominic Dieball car there. He was getting right up on the back wing there of Brandon Cruz Monsivice. It looked like he was going to be able to do something with him, and that was something we didn't get to see on the first run out there because of, like you said, George Barks getting to the outside wall pretty much gave the front position away there, and he was able to walk away with that by 2 seconds. But Brandon Cruz wasn't able to get that much of a pull away at this time because, like I said, Dieball was right there on his back bumper, looking like, or back spoiler, excuse me, looking like he's wanting to do a slingshot move coming down into one of these turns, and that's what I expect to see out of Dieball here in the next time we get back under green and get some speed in these cars again. I think Dominic's got something for him.
The first opening green flag run in this event was quite long, and right after that, again, a quick caution, which has us working under our second yellow flag so far of the evening. I want to remind everybody to not only be active in the YouTube chat, but as well use the hashtag LSRTV on Twitter and stay in the conversation after this. 3 races remain in our road to a Cora championship, and we're going to be bringing them at you back to back to back, as always, every Sunday evening on LSRTV. How about coming up, B cars at the Talladega Super Speedway, trucks at Charlotte, and then the Cup cars at Talladega 2 weeks after to bring it all together in this championship battle. We've already seen major stories. One of them, the driver leading the championship into this event, George Bark, has been in defense. He is way back in 16th. Can this open up the door for a guy like Brandon Cruz Monsivice, who brings us down the front straightaway? The pace car is down and away. He is the controlled vehicle. Green flag flies back and away at Indianapolis. A little bit of a checkup on the inside lane as they're really spread out. The top 3 gone, side by side for second. Churchman going to lose that battle to Dominic Dieball. Then you got to go back to Kevin McCarthy fighting Nick Doucette for P4.
Not exactly what had happened there with the Monsivice machine, but like you said, there was a big checkup on the inside line there. It looks like he just didn't get going, spun his tires, something, and just didn't get moving there because it looked like Dominic Dieball thought he was going to go and took off just about past him before they hit the start-finish line, which would have been very detrimental to Dominic because that would have given him a black flag. He would have had to go to the back of the field. But Monsivice not having a great start, and Dieball right back on his rear wing one more time. Let's see if he's going to be able to do anything with him.
The question has been, after that opening run that saw Nick Doucette get going, and that could be an understatement, is can you keep the leader in your marks? Monsivice is trying to pull away while everybody behind him wants to prevent that from happening. We got trouble for Dominic Dieball. He got real tight at a 2. He slows down the backstretch. He had that issue in corner 2. Michael Churchman passed him. They were really neck and neck on each other's gearbox for P2 by that. But after that, Dieball was also passed by Nick Doucette as well as Kevin McCarthy. So he's now forced to slide back in what would be a P5 running position now at the start-finish line. In front of them now, Churchman with a little bit of issues coming out of quarter number 1. 1 seems to get a lot of guys really tight because you're getting up there, Carl, 225 plus miles an hour. You throw the draft into that, we're talking 230. The car gets really, really aero-tight. There's not a lot you can do if you really miss nailing marking that inside, and that's a big issue for somebody. We've seen it a couple times.
Now Kevin McCarthy timed that just right also there with the draft. He was able to draft up there on the Churchman machine, and when Churchman went up, he just timed it just perfectly, went down to the inside and got around him. And that's what I think he's looking to do now with Monsivice. He is getting that, he's hanging back here, looking to get that whiff, get that run, and try that one more time, see if he can get his car up here into the lead. But meanwhile, looking back here, we got some contact between Michael Churchma and the Dominic Dieball machine. Churchma goes up and into the outside wall.
Trouble for Michael Churchma. Yeah,
falling
to the
way back
inside
into the
went, you talked about it, Dieball went to the inside. Churchma didn't see him, tried to come down, and evidently got knocked out of line where there's not a lot of rubber, caught the outside of retaining wall, and that is a big one because he is now limping on the access road down in quarters number 3 and 4. Entered this 20 points off of the top marker in the championship, and now being forced to pit lane may knock him off of the lead lap, depending on what kind of damage repair they may have to do on that. That is a tough break in the championship hopes for the 88 team.
Back up here to the front, though, Brandon Cruz Monsivice. Now with that mistake being made there, I'm not sure what happened with Kevin McCarthy. Caution is out on the field. Caution's on the field one more time.
A lifesaver possibly for Michael Churchma. Caution flag is now out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the third time in this race event. The field now all slows down in corners number 1 and 2, and we try to find the cause of that incident. The pace car is going to blend back up with these guys off of corner 2, trying to track when the caution lights came on and seeing if anybody had some trouble at said point. It looks like it may have been Ryan Borges with trouble. Just talked about how it was Michael Churchma who came in third in the championship that had issues, Carl. Well, he entered tied with somebody for third, and that was the 32 of Ryan Borges, who was technically fourth in this championship. Borges did exactly what George Bark did. The car just got too tight on him. He hit the fence. Again, this is a fixed setup race, and that's why everybody is struggling with this. Borges found himself in the fence, spun it out in corner 2. Thankfully, nobody else came through and hit him, but back-to-back issues for team cars that were running top 5 of the championship. That does not look good. Borges really crab-walking bad as he's forced to the pit lane.
Yeah, Borges there coming out of turn number 2, spun the car one more time here after his damage, having a really hard time keeping this car going in the forward direction with all this damage, because like you said, he is crab-walking really bad. He's into the inside wall there in the pits. So not a very good pit stop for him either. He's going to get the car fixed and try to get it back out there, and he's going to have to back up so he can not hit the wall. And he's back out onto the racing surface now. We'll see if Ryan Borges is going to be able to catch up with the rest of this field here and continue on.
Brandon Cruz Monsivice elects to come down to the pit lane again. He cycled back up to the top spot after electing to not come down pit road earlier on in this event at that first caution marker that allowed him obviously to cycle up to the front. Him and about 5-6 other cars stayed out, and now it's going to see the flip side of said. We will see Kevin McCarthy in that 44 car now go to the top spot right in front of him. You do see the Michael Churchma car. That is technically the final car on the lead lap because he is in front of our race leader. He scored 18th, a minute and 37 seconds off. Once the lights go on for the pace car, we get one to go. That machine will be waved around. He'll cycle back up at the back of everybody else, lap cars included. However, there's not all that many lap cars. You take a look, only 2 right now, and the first one is 2 laps down. That's Dan Bailey. Talked about the issues that team has had. The 08 team is 19th, 2 laps down, and then 7 laps down in 20th. Still Gordon Berkey not making much headway as he continues to struggle to be able to make up for issues that he had earlier on.
So this is going to fall right into Kevin McCarthy's hands here. He has yet to pit, I believe. But Kevin McCarthy is now out here in the lead, and he's right where he wanted to be because he said he was also one of the drivers earlier that said that he had something big for these guys, and all he needs to do is get out front. Well, now he's out front. So let's see what he can do, see if he can hold up his end of the bargain here. Like he said, if I get out front, I'm gone. So he's up front. Let's see how fast he gets going.
So Kevin McCarthy now, talking about how you said that he thought that he would have something for these guys. He's at the front of the field, which is, maybe where he had thought that he would end up in this event. Maybe he wants to finish there. He's picked up 10 spots after starting in P11. scrubbing some tires down the front straightaway. What is one of the keys, maybe, Carl? I don't know if Kevin was talking to you in this regard. He says he has a good car. We mentioned that it is a fixed setup race. For those that tune in regularly to Sunday Money Action, they will know. For those that may not, we do typically alternate week in and week out between fixed setups, which means everybody out there has the same equipment, and open setups, which allows individual drivers to put their own setups on the car, make their own adjustments. 1 week ago was an open set. This evening is fixed. What does that 44 team really like about their car, if they mention that?
Well, what Kevin... He the only time you'll ever see Kevin out on the racetrack is in the Indy cars. He comes out for the Watkins Glen race and now again for this Indy race here. He just likes the Indy cars. He races them all the time. That's all he does is IndyCar racing. I don't think I've ever seen him out there with fenders on the car. And he just knows these tracks. He's very good at them. He's run many laps on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here in preparation for this. So he knows what this setup can do. He's actually the one who built this setup. So he's probably more familiar with it than any of the other drivers out here. So I think that's where he has his advantage right there. Is he building the setup, and this is all he does. He just drives the Indy cars.
Still, again, with 18 cars on the lead lap, Churchma will remain on the lead lap again, although he appears to be a lap car. He technically has not lost said lap because Kevin sits right behind him. Another issue that you might have to look at this, and we talk about how unique this championship is, the fact that everybody has to try to qualify in on every week. The qualifying procedures for a Cora Sunday Money race is that drivers are required to qualify in one of 3 qualifying races held on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. A driver must finish in the top 12 of a qualifier to make the show on Sunday. Prior to joining the qualifying race, each driver is required to send a $6 deposit that can be used all week long until they qualify. If they do not qualify it, you take that money back, you take your deposit back, or leave it in your Cora fund for your next qualifying attempt. Now, if the driver does qualify for a Sunday Money, a portion of that entry fee goes towards the weekly race purse that pays out all of these top positions every week, and as well, a percentage of it goes to the championship fund, which are additional payouts that go to the people who sit atop everybody else when the championship comes down to an end, and that point in our season is very quickly approaching us. Lights go off on the pace car. The point that I was making at all of that is these are the old Indy cars. We've talked about it. It's the final time we're going to see that. It's very difficult, maybe even, Carl, to go on to, an iRacing hosted race. It's no longer in use in the official IndyCar sessions and find a race with the circa 2011 Dallara chassis. So it could be a difficult thing. Although they don't drive all that differently, there is a pretty substantial difference between driving a DW12 and this IndyCar circa 2011 chassis. A lot of the guys that have raced IndyCars elsewhere, just on iRacing in general, kind of have to take a step back and get some practice laps in on these cars, make sure they don't lose touch with how to drive these ones to be successful also.
Well, absolutely. These cars handle a lot differently than the DW12 cars do in the draft also. These cars are a lot more unstable in the draft. They tend to not take to dirty air quite as well as DW12 cars. I've driven both cars on this racetrack, and I just see my personal preference is I like the DW12 car on this racetrack. It just seems like it sticks to the track a lot better. When you go down to the turns, especially when you're behind somebody or to the outside of somebody, you're able to stick a lot better. With these cars, like I said, they just don't handle so well in the slipstream in the draft. It seems like they get knocked around quite a bit, and they tighten up real bad when you get right up in behind somebody.
And everybody is going to be right up behind everybody on this one because we are double file down in quarters number 3 and 4. We get set for another restart at the Brickyard. This time, close it in right at the 1/3 mark in this evening's JMP Custom Cycles 250 at the Brickyard. The pace car is down and away to the safety of pit road. Kevin McCarthy has the option to go when he pleases. Green flag flies. Again, he could accelerate, but the pace car hits the pit lane till the green flag actually flies, hesitates, gets on the loud pedal, and that gives him the ability to now get 0.4 of a second clear on Dominic Dyball and everybody else already by the time they hit 2.
Yeah, like I said, Kevin McCarthy, and I believe Dominic Dyball are the only 2 cars right now that have not pitted. Those 2 cars are out here on old tires, and I was told they are able to go about between 36-37 laps on a tank of fuel. So these guys are going to be getting really close to have to come down here pretty soon and pit these cars and get some new tires and fuel on these 2 vehicles. Because like I said, I believe if I look back here, these are the only 2 cars that have not pitted yet.
and quickly approaching that point in this event. We've had quite the shuffle up because of that pit strategy that we have seen already to this point. We got John Pansula over the radio. He is going backwards to the inside. Everybody trying to make moves. You got James Brown down there, Dylan Acker, Nathan Sedlak, Nick Doucette, everybody putting the move on that John Pansula entry, who tries to come down in line, and we got contact. He gets into James Brown. Behind them now, more contact. Slowing is George Bark after another incident nearly down in corners number 3 and 4. Colton Berkey gets the worst of it. He's damaged the left front of his wing.
And things are about to get interesting up here in the front now. Kevin McCarthy's lead has evaporated. Dominic Dyball is now right back up here on his rear wing.
Oh, trouble, it's Colton Berkey. Again, I just mentioned he had issues with the left front wing, and aerodynamics are very crucial at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That car did not grip around the corner. Again, it came after contact where the 00 of James Brown got chopped off. John Pansula tried to get down the line in front of him. That hit James. James checked up. Colton got into the back of him, and with that wing damage, was unable to complete turn 1 at 228 miles per hour. He found the fence. He's taking a tow. His night that quickly, Carl. Looks like it's done. We've seen that quite a few times tonight, and turn 1 seems to be the calamity corner. We talk about this being a survival of the fittest, not in the fact that they need to survive avoiding contact from each other. It's not an ugly race. It's just hard sailing off down into quarter number 1. Talking about the weather conditions that we're looking at, it is a light fog, but it is fairly cool in Indianapolis, Indiana right now. 65 degrees Fahrenheit. The track's only at 70 degrees. No wind. However, it is 100% humidity, so it is a thick air in the racetrack, and you've seen that a lot of the time. Again, close, even for a guy like a Dominic Dyball right now, who's just riding around in second place. He always gets close to the wall down in quarter number 1. It's just one of those nights for a lot of these guys, and your night can go from bad to worse, or good to bad, really, in the split of a second. We go on board with the Nick Doucette entry. He rides in P10. He started on pole position, but he's trying to make his way back up to the field, and you see him struggle to keep that car off and away from the wall. Really down into 1 and down into 3 are the hardest places to do so. There's a big pack of cars in front of him that he's trying to get to.
Yeah, he's trying to catch up with the John Pansula in the 01 car right now, and not having a lot of luck doing that. He has pretty much stayed about 0.7 of a second behind Pansula, not able to do much to catch him, 0.5 of a second, to catch him, and he is slowing down now. I've been watching him the last couple of turns, and it seems like he is letting off the throttle going into the turns there. Maybe his car is really tightening up on him, and he's not able to have the car do what he wants to, but he just about got ran over there this last time coming out of the turn. Because he was so slow, the car behind him there of Michael Churchma did not slow down and just about ran over top of him. But up here in the front of this pack one more time now, these guys are pretty much now on chase mode here because Kevin McCarthy has turned up the wick. I heard him a couple times. He was letting off the throttle going into the turns, but he has stopped doing that now. He has been full throttle around this track, and he is starting to pull away from the field now. He has got a 0.6 of a second lead on Dominic Dyball, who was right up on his rear wing here just about 3 or 4 laps ago, now falling back 0.6 of a second.
Dylan Ackert, another driver that is getting aggressive out there on the racetrack. He rides in 7th position right now. He is right behind the 35 of Nathan Sedlak, that car. And then really, they're 3 seconds off of the leaders and 2.8 back from everybody else inside of the top 5. So it's kind of a battle just amongst themselves. They also have Monts of Ice with them, Pansula and Brown. That was that big pack that we were talking about when we were looking up from the Nick Doucette entry. He has since lost the draft, Doucette beat. So that 51 machine has slid to 11th, but is 4.6 seconds off of the top spot. Now side by side down to Max straightaway, John Pansula to the inside on Brandon Cruz Monts of Ice. It's a battle for P8.
And to follow him right on through, it looks like James Brown's going to follow him through for the 9th position here. So Brandon Cruz Monts of Ice, and just that quick, loses 2 positions here, falling back now to the 10th position. Not sure what's going on there with the Monts of Ice machine, if anything at all. He might be just kind of trying to cool his tire down here and not push it so hard, because once you get these tires heated up, that's when you start getting into some problems. You start pushing. And that's one thing I think maybe he's trying to do. He's just trying to cool it down here a little bit and get another run back at these guys up front.
17 drivers remain on the lead lap. Bailey, Berkey, and Berkey. Of the drivers that are not currently on track right now, or rather not on the lead lap, one of them is off track, and that is the Colton Berkey entry, but we've gone down from what started as 20 to 18, now 17. All things considered, though, pretty good. That's not to say that everybody is clean and scot-free right now. Talking about, again, want to keep an update on your Cora Championship points leader, George Bark, in the number 1 car, won 1 week ago. Started up front, caught the fence early, struggling. Not all that slow. You take a look at our race leader, Kevin McCarthy. Keep it in mind that Kevin has no draft in front of him, running a 39.698 at the top of the field. George Bark, 39.7. So George has the speed in traffic. The issue is you're so far back that by the time you get down the back straightaway on a restart, Carl, everybody is so spread out that you really got to try to pick your way up in the group that you're in. We'll see when everybody spreads out. You get a group of 4 cars, a group of 3 cars, whatever it may be. You got to make up as much time in that as you can and then really take advantage of these restarts. Nick Doucette comes to pit lane.
Back here around the 4th position, the 68 car of Damon Gilbert just took a look to the inside of Salicardi. Was not able to do anything with it. Salicardi came off a turn there, was able to shoot back ahead of him, and it looks like Gilbert's just going to have to fall back in line and follow him down the backstretch. One more time, he's going to take a look down to the inside of Salicardi, but nothing going. Salicardi takes it right down to that white line, so there's nothing that Gilbert can do with him, and he's going to get right up on the back bumper. He's going to try, or the back spoiler, excuse me, one more time. He's going to take a look one more time, and not going to happen coming down the front stretch, but he is going to just push him right on down the front stretch.
Nick Doucette had come down to pit road. He now begins to exit. One of the points that you need to talk about when you discuss pitting at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is the protocol to do so. There's an access road on the inside of 1 and 2, on the inside of 3 and 4. You only have to use one of them. And now caution flag right in the middle of pit stops. Trouble down the back straightaway into the inside wall. Hard contact, and it is Dylan Ackard. Was scored in the number 8 spot right at this point of caution, and is a driver that entered this championship 9th in the chase, 42 points off of the top spot. He needed a solid run to not get too far out of this, and Ackard having said trouble, again, nobody else to blame but, you know, maybe hate the game, because he was quite a little bit off of the guys in front of him, but it just got tight, and he hit the wall in 1, couldn't make the corner, and, obviously hit the fence in 2, spun around, and a very close call for Ryan Borges. We need to get an onboard shot of that 32. An evasive action to the inside also keeps it out of the inside wall. If Ryan Borges wins a championship in 3 weeks, that's the moment you need to look back on. That was a great evasive maneuver.
Well, we are now 45 laps into this event here. We have Kevin McCarthy still out here on the racetrack. He has 45 laps on that tank of fuel and tires. Yes, some of them were under caution, so he was able to save quite a bit of fuel. And also sounded like he was kind of trying to save fuel out there on the racetrack, where he was letting off the throttle, going into the turns, coming out of the turns, not just putting it to the floor, just kind of easing back into the throttle. So he's been trying to save fuel. I don't know exactly what his plans are, but he is going to have to pit here soon. Because like I said, he is 45 laps into the event on the same fuel and same tires as he started out with. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe this time is going to be his time to pit. Absolutely not. Looks like he is going to stay out once again. No, he is coming into the pits. He decided at the last minute he's going to drop it down to the pits. Here comes Kevin McCarthy, our leader, down to pit road.
McCarthy comes down as well. Dominique Dieball. Looks like a whole lot of people coming down, but we've really gotten ourselves in a staggered pit strategy so early on in this race. I feel like this is the most cars that we've seen, though, all come down pit lane together all night long. Looks like pretty much everybody down but James Brown. So Kevin McCarthy leads us into the pit lane. We are just about, I want to say, 8 laps or so shy of the halfway point at Indianapolis. Going to step away again for the moment. We get close to the second half of this evening's JMP Custom Cycles 250 at the Brickyard on the other side.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faces...
Back live in Indianapolis, Indiana. This evening's JMP Custom Cycles 250 at the Brickyard is live on LSRTV, and we are closing in on the halfway point at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's just about 4 laps away for round 21. And chase race 2 of 5 for Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. As always, Sunday evenings on Live Sim Racing TV. I want to, again, thank everybody for tuning in up in the broadcast booth this evening alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, Carl Jones, and the production hauler is Laura Lawson. Carl, close it in on the halfway point in this race. It's already an hour through. Not that bad on cautions to this point. We have seen a lot of drivers have issues. George Bark's night has gone from bad to worse. He caught the fence again. He came down pit road, got a quick fix, but is now 2 laps down after sitting atop the kingdom in the championship entering this evening. It's been a wild one, and we're just halfway through. There is a time limit on this that if we do get a string of yellows to really slow things down, again, we've gotten about half of this race done in what's going to be about an hour of race time. It is capped at 2 hours and 20 minutes. So if this does get out of hand yellow-wise, which it is not anywhere near that yet, but it is a possibility when you get these guys out here, cautions breeding cautions, that could become a factor as well.
Yeah, as you were saying there with the George Bark machine, yeah, I saw, I wasn't sure who it was, but I believe it might have been him. I saw a white car just as the pace car was exiting pit road. I seen a white car fly down across the track and into the wall, which I believe was the George Bark machine. He sat on pit road for a long time. He went a lap down, and like you said, it just went from bad to worse for him. He is sitting 16th in position on the racetrack, a lap down. This is going to be a big hit to him here now, coming to the last couple of races of this season. He's 2 laps down. Yes, he is. I'm sorry. He is 2 laps down.
And that takes us from 16 to 15 cars to the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap is the number 99 Honda-powered entry of Charles Starks, who sits in said 15th position. The front row going to be the 00, James Brown. Control car, Damon Gilbert alongside in second. The pace car makes that sharp left-hand turn down to the pit lane, and we get set to go back. Green flag racing from the Brickyard on LSRTV. James Brown, right foot planted, green flag back out, and we race across the stripe, this time crossing over to take lap number 49 of technically 102. Call it lap 47 of 100, down through 1 and 2.
All right, Kevin McCarthy finally went in to get his pit stop taken care of there, it looks like. Now he is now only dropped back to the 5th position. So not a bad pitch strategy, I guess, on his part there, waiting until halfway through this session to actually pit. He's only dropped back to the 5th position out of the lead, so that puts James Brown up here in the front. Damon Gilbert's going to be right to his back end. Salicardi, Dominic Dyball is going to be sitting here in 4th position. 5th position is going to be Kevin McCarthy. Then Nathan Sedlak 6th, Ryan Borges 7th. Michael Churchman in the 8th position. 9th position is going to be Ronald Hacker, and in 10th is going to be John Pansula.
And a single file freight train at the front of this field, and again they're made objective to not let James Brown, Nicholas Doucette. We haven't really seen it since that first long green flag stretch in this event, but it was at the beginning at that 51 machine left. Look at these guys though: Brown, Accardi, Gilbert, Dyball, McCarthy, Sedlak, Borges, all the way through. Include Churchman in that. Even Ronald Hacker up from 16th position. A great improvement for that 61 team in the corner. Pansula's not that far off. All of these guys, the top 9 within 9/10 of a second of each other. It's a big single file freight train down the front.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the top 8 cars right now that have made a little bit of a breakaway here now. As you go back to John Pansula, he's fallen back about 1 second total from 1.1 second total back from our leader. And right now James Brown here, he is having all he can do to keep Salicardi behind him. Sal is all over his back end, looking to his outside now. Not going to happen. He's going to pull right back down to the bottom of the track. James Brown is still going to lead this lap.
And you see Salicardi all over the back of that 00. We are halfway through this evening's JMP Custom Cycles 250. We'll give you a full field rundown presented in part by our sponsors at Cora, Hurley Property Management, and Small Town Computers. The top 10 go as follows, and they continue to fight, so some of these may shuffle as we go through them side by side for second. But your race leader is James Brown. Second position is going to go to Damon Gilbert. Sal Liccardi will be third. Fourth to Dominic Diebold. Kevin McCarthy, fifth position. Nathan Sedlak is in sixth. Ryan Borges up into 11th position to get the seventh. Eighth right now, Michael Churchma. Ronald Hacker is ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is Nick Doucette.
Back here in 11th position, we got John Pansula. 12th is going to be Patrick Bordeaux. Brandon Cruz-Mont, big wreck here in the front stretch.
Trouble as Nathan Sedlak is hard into the outside wall. Caution flag is out at the Brickyard, just at the halfway point in this. The contact did not start with him, though. It happened in front of him. Big trouble for Damon Gilbert, and when you get tires touching at 227 miles an hour, not the best situation that you can find yourself in. This incident happens down in corner 1, lap 53. To the inside went Sal Liccardi. Was talking about how much Sal was all over the back of James Brown. Damon was able to make a pass on Sal and then trying to take said position back. Had the inside position, and it looks like Damon just tried to pinch a little bit too much. You also see that 39 car come up off of the bottom a little bit, and they end up meeting each other. The tires touch. They're lucky that they didn't just get sent into the air right there, but unfortunately, that was no longer a possibility for Damon Gilbert to make the corner. He spun sideways, and a nasty place to make contact for Nathan Sedlak, Carl. Nowhere to go. He absolutely pile drives the inside wall, comes back up. Looks like he also gets a piece of John Pansula after Damon Gilbert just spun back up the hill and nearly took out the same guy. So John Pansula clips both of the cars that wrecked in that one. It's a 3-car incident down in 1 and 2. That slows us back down.
Nathan Sedlak coming out of turn 4 here, trying to drive his wounded car back to the pits, blew the engine. He is able to very, very slowly get the car back here into the pits. He's able to use his quick repair. He's going to put 4 tires and fuel on. He's going to get back out on the racetrack with a nice, clean car. But, yeah, tough luck for the 35 Nathan Sedlak. He has really not been having the last few weeks here of a very good ending of his season, and he cannot be happy with the way things have turned out here today, except for the fact that he had the quick repair. He's going to be dropped all the way back here to the 15th position. I believe he will be able to stay on the lead lap, but he is another driver here that's up in the points that has been having problems here today.
So Pansula is forced down to the pit lane again. He nearly, and it would have been a great move if he was able to do so, almost squeaked by both of those cars that were in the incident on the outside lane, and unfortunately he didn't quite make it on both occasions. The left side of that number 01 car is pretty banged up. Comes down, gets one of his quick fixes, so then he'll get a brand new race machine. He'll head back out. Colton Berkey, Charles Starks as well, some of the other guys that are currently down on the pit lane. With him getting an extent of damage repaired. But James Brown does top this field now, and we continue to see quite a cycle as, again, we really got things kicked off in a fun way, because the first time we saw that caution flag, it was a split strategy on pit road. We've seen a couple of split strategies sent then. The last one was actually quite uniform as far as everybody playing nice and coming down the pit lane at the same time with each other. But when you sit in the spot with the guy that leads the race started in 10th, only throughout the whole top 10 right now, only 4 drivers started in single-digit starting positions, and the pole sitter, Nick Doucette, has really struggled in dirty air. It's a fixed setup, so he doesn't really have a big advantage that some of the bigger teams that we might see have at these open set races, Carl, because Doucette was absolutely spectacular out front. Nobody has been faster than at 51 in front of the field. He got away by 2.4 seconds by himself. But since he got back in the pack on said fuel strategy that we talked about, he hasn't really been able to do a lot. He is back up to P8, but again, that's still in a position that I really don't think he has an opportunity to get back to the leaders unless we get a caution, because he just gets too spread out that far back that I really think it would just be really difficult for him to try to get something going with that.
Yeah, he got back here mired in the traffic, like you said, and his car just, the handle went away from him. And he has only been able to get himself back up here to the 8th position. Now we are 55 laps into this race. So it's going to be, like you said, I think it's going to have a hard time trying to get back up here to the front especially when you got drivers like James Brown, Salacardi, Dominic Dyball all sitting up here, Kevin McCarthy, the Iceman, all sitting up here in the front of this field. I'm going to have to say that I hope to see him get back up here because I love to see Nicholas Doucette run well, and I just don't see it happening. Ooh, Salacardi just spun it out here on the caution flaps.
Trouble for the 39 of Salacardi. They were scrubbing the tires down there in corner number 1. I think James was doing it. Sal tried to do it too. And he spun out and, really ended up quite far out there in the grass because it's kind of damp. Thankfully, we're at Indy and not any other oval track because he could have easily found a fence, but thankfully for him, there's a big opening there for the Indianapolis GP circuit. Got back out on track and spun out again. So he's going to try to catch everybody who's about halfway down the back straightaway. They're right in between that 18-hole golf course, which a portion of that's actually on the infield of this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This facility is so very large that they're splitting that at the moment. He is going to have the ability, though, to be able to come back, get P2 back. Sometimes when you have an incident under caution, the sim car is not going to let you go back. Fortunately for him, he will be able to retain that P2 spot. He passes everybody up high.
You got to wonder what kind of damage that might have done to his front end there, getting down on that berm and going through that grass like that. These cars sit very low to the ground, and like you said, these are very aerodynamic vehicles, and you got to wonder if it did any kind of damage at all to his front end. It looks like his left side front spoiler there might be a little bit askew, but not too bad. But yeah, that's one thing. The first thing that went through my mind was, well, he's going to have some damage. And looks like he might. Not sure. We'll have to see as the race goes on.
All things considered, he appears to have been able to get away quite good as far as a possible outcome for that. The 39 is back up to second. Looks like he may have some left front wing damage. It appears that the end of that thing is sticking up a little bit in the air. And last time we saw somebody have some wing damage, they planted it into the wall the next time they came through a corner at full song. So we'll have to see how that will affect Sal, because not only are these cars very sensitive, but you take away any of that aero, any of the wings that you got on these, and again, it's the older Dallara chassis, the circa 2011 Indy cars. So there's obviously the driver compartment, it's a lot smaller. The rear tires are still exposed, so a lot more air gets through this race car. That wing and the front wing as well are so very important. Can't really afford a lot of damage, and I do think that Sal is working with some minor damage on the left front of it. It appears to be jacked up a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to definitely change the. It's going to change the handle of his race car here. I don't know. It's going to have to probably tighten this up, which is not good because this setup is pretty tight as it is. Like I said, you have to hit these turns just at the right angle so you can make sure you make it into these turns, or else you're going to wash out to that outside wall. And if you have a car that has problems like that with the front end, and it's going to be running tight anyway, that's going to just compound that problem. So it's going to be interesting to see if Salacardi is going to be able to do anything here at all with James, or if he's just going to drop back through this field like a rock.
Meanwhile, the lights have gone out on top of the iRacing.com pace car. We saw at the additional drop of the green flag, Terry Hurley was piloting the JMP Custom Cycles 250 pace car up at the front of the field. Again, JMP Custom Cycles is the title sponsor for Cora Chase Race 2 of 5. For more information on that, they're located in Shady Hill, Florida. Call 1-727-485-4358 for more. From JMP Custom Cycles. Green flag is back in the air. We get set to go back at it. And again, no issues for our race leader. Being in that control car position has worked to marvels so far for the guys that have lined up on the inside of the front row all day long. Second position goes to the car that was third once again. Give it to Dominic Dyball. Cleared for third now with Salacardi side by side. Ryan Borges and Kevin McCarthy for P4.
Watching the Salacardi car there, going into that first turn there, the car looked like it was kind of tight, and Dominic Dyball was able to dive down to his inside. Looks like Sal's all right now. They're going into this turn here, but yeah, when he went into the first turn there, that car looked very, very tight. Just wanted to wash up the racetrack, and Dominic Dyball was able to get underneath him. Salacardi is looking back to get his position back, though. He is down to the inside of Dominic, and he's going to see if he can make the pass stick here, and he does. Dominic's going to have to give the position up as Salacardi goes to P2, excuse me.
And everybody fans out side by side with Ryan Borges. A team car making a move on him. It is the entry Michael Churchma, who's on the outside lane. Borges attempting to make the pass. He will do so down the back straightaway. Dives it down, gets the left side tires underneath that white line in 3, and move Ryan Borges in the 32 car up the 5th. Remember, we talked about Michael Churchma and Ryan Borges tied in the championship, had issues earlier on where they caught the fence. They lucked out caution timing-wise because they're both on the lead lap. Same things can't be said for the likes of George Bark and others in this championship that have had issues. But really, all things considered, the 32 and the 88 for both pancaking the wall. They literally got a caution car the lap after they made the contact. They are able to maintain the lead lap status because of that. They got a quick fix. Really dodged a big bullet in that regard.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like these guys are going to start to single file this out now and stop with the side-by-side racing here as they want to try to get some of these laps in and not have any more cautions. But looks like that damage that Salacardi does have on the front, you can see it more pronouncedly if you're looking from the back end of the James Brown machine there. It's not affecting him too much because he's able to get right back up here on the rear spoiler of James, and he's going to be challenging him here, I think, in a lap or two for position. But Dominic Diebald just got up to the outside wall and brushed the outside wall. He's going to fall back a few positions now.
And it's a constant struggle with being aggressive. Do you lift? Do you not lift? If you don't, you're going to be evidently faster. But if you do, a little bit more cushion on the fact that you can avoid that outside wall that has caught drivers over and over tonight. And if it wasn't for some of the quick fixes, things could be a lot worse for many of the drivers that are out there on track so far tonight, especially with pretty big championship implications, with many of them who have had said issues so far. 16 on the lead lap. The top 2, though, trying to pull away, and they are doing so successfully. James Brown is at the front of the field, and Salacardi behind him is running in the number 2 position. Hearing there may have been some contact. To take a look, Cardi got close, but I don't think they actually touched down in corner 1. There was about half a car length in between them, but they are pulling away, trailing each other's line, and they're a second to the good over a big pack of cars for a third on back that's led by Kevin McCarthy. Borges, Diebald, Doucette all packed in there within a couple of tenths of a second of each other.
Taking a look back here now to the 9th position, Ronald Hacker, he is under attack right now by Damon Gilbert. Damon's been to his outside a couple different times trying to get around him, trying to see if he can find a way around him, but Hacker's able to just put that car down to the bottom of the racetrack and is able to squirt back up ahead. He's back up now in front as Gilbert just now is going to take a look at his inside, thinks better of it, pulls up behind him, and decides to follow in the slipstream one more time.
And it's that constant strategy, duck in line, try to get a run, try to step out of line, and nothing really happens from that at said point. And, you know, you got to just keep going at it. And it's about that slingshot, but you got to time it correctly as well. There's a lot of places on this where you can try to make a move. We've seen a couple times tonight that you can, get that run, but if you really don't get a nose to the inside on somebody at a decent time, you try to stick the nose to the inside as you go down into a corner. We have seen that not really work out well for either party a couple of times tonight with drivers making contact because things are so close. Again, you're running so fast. It's a 2.5-mile racetrack, and you're running sub-40-second lap times in the draft here, and 220-plus, right at 230, really, miles an hour out there on track. Take a look at the speed of Salacardi. He trails our race leader right now down the front straightaway. The gap is within 0.2 of a second of each other, 233 mph into 1.
And it looks like James Brown and Salacardi have figured something out here because now they have been able to put a nice lead on these guys here behind them. They're up to 1.39 seconds now in the lead, in the good. And looks like Kevin McCarthy is doing all he can just to see if he can get a sniff up here and see if he can maybe find a little bit of a draft here of Salacardi. But I think he's too far back now. He's going to actually lose his draft, but he does have some cars behind him here now that are trying to help him out. And Ryan Borges and Dominic Diebald, they're going to line up and see if they can help catch back up to the Salacardi car.
And we talked about how the leaders are able to pull away. It's funny how the DraftWorks may have had some issues for Salacardi. I think he caught the wall at a corner number 1. If he didn't, it was close. And I think he did very slightly just brush that outside retaining wall down into corner number 1. very difficult as far as if you come off the corner where the safer barrier still sticks out, you're losing about 2 feet of room, which sounds like if you're going to be within 2 feet of the wall, you're pretty much in trouble regardless. Be surprised as far as how close you can cut that corner if you're really trying to dig, and what that'll do is it'll make the gap between the top two go from 0.08 of a second to 0.2 as he drops a significant amount of time, lost about 1/4 second, still sits in a reasonable spot about 6 car lengths off of the race leader, but the question is, can he hang on to James Brown? He should be able to get up to him because the 00 doesn't have any drafting help in front of him, but we have seen many times tonight, if you're the last car in a pack, and you can technically call Sal the last car in this 2-car pack, very difficult to remain in that slipstream.
Not to beat a dead horse here, but you got to remember Sal McCarthy does have that damage there to that left side wing. And that's going to make things a little bit more difficult for him, especially if he's trying to push it a little bit harder to try to keep up with James Brown, or maybe even try to get around James. He's going to have that issue where it's going to cause him to push out to that wall, wash out to the wall, just like he just did here a couple laps back. He washed out, just barely scraped the wall, but it did drop him back. Now he's going to have to do everything he can to try to catch back up here, Brown. And he's going to have to push the car all that much harder. And then the harder he pushes the car the harder the car is going to drive. As you see, he does wash up just a little bit more than Brown does coming out of the turns.
And we discussed when he got that damage, which may have been suffered when he spun to the inside and came off of the banking here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that if you measure it up, sits, at a pretty good 9 to 10, 12 degrees of progressive banking. So, nothing like going from Daytona 30-something to 0 on the apron there. But these cars, again, are so very fragile that we do think that because the angle he went down may have caused those issues to the wing of that car. And we talked about it could slow him down. Although he's not being drastically slowed, it's just that little bit of drag that could be putting on yourself, that could be the decision maker in what you can do. You may be able to stick with the guy, which is Sal has actually done a pretty good job of actually getting back up to James after it looked like that 00 was going to pull away. Now, the question is, can he pass him to the inside? He'll try it. No, not going to work. Gave him the room, but unfortunately for Sal, not able to maintain the speed down into the corner there, and it is going to be James Brown who continues to ride at the front.
Well, one of the things that I'm seeing right now is James is punching that big hole in the air, so that front wing damage isn't really too pronounced right now, because the air is going up over top of the Sal McCarthy machine, and it's pushing down more on the front end of the car than what it would. It just kind of gave me the glimpse of that when Sal tried to pull up there and get around James. That the car just didn't have exactly what it needed to make that pass. He got out there, he got more air on that front wing there, and it just kind of messed up his turn, and it kind of pushed him up the racetrack. So it's really hard to say, but that's kind of what it's looking like, that he's able to pull right up on James here in that air, because like I said, it's being pushed up over top of that wing. That wing is not really affecting it too much, but as soon as he gets out into that clean air one more time and it's going to try to push down the car where it's supposed to, we're going to see one more time. He's going to try to take a look at the outside, and he's not able to do anything. He just falls back.
And the top two continue to trail. It's like we're at Talladega, because that's what they're doing for third and fourth as well on a very long now green flag run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You take a look, Borges and Dieball continue to ride each other, and now we got a swap for the top spot because Sal McCarthy is going to take that after he went to the inside going down to corner number 1. And they made contact. It looked like Sal dove down into the corner, a little bit of a late entry, and they did get into each other. They technically didn't, but it was net code, because you see that 00 car take an abrupt maneuver, and actually the left side tires get up in the air a little bit as if they did touch each other. So the sim recognized it as contact, and now James Brown slides way back, and he's going to be right just about quarter distance left to go. James Brown going to bring it down pit road. Kevin McCarthy will follow him in.
Right down the pit lane here now with James Brown. He's right in front of Kevin McCarthy as they come down. He gets up to second position for the pits here. This will be his last stop of the race here now as he comes in. He's going to take 4 tires and fuel. He's going to fill up, and so is Kevin McCarthy. Let's see who gets off the pit road faster. Looks like it's going to be James Brown. The James Brown car comes down. Does he have any damage from that contact? Absolutely not. He's out. He's able to get out in front of Kevin McCarthy, so he's going to be able to maintain that position with Kevin. But he's going to drop way back in this field. So we're going to see if anybody else is going to have to pit. the way Kevin went there with the first 50 laps, are they going to have to make any more pit stops, or I'm kind of dumbfounded on this one.
It looks like that this may put us at a spot that the guys that are coming down pit road now may just be good. They're right at the marker of about 30 laps to go in this race as they pit right now. A good news for these guys is if they haven't wrecked a couple of times this evening and they still have a quick fix, if he did get damaged in that incident, or if anybody else has any sort of damage, if they still have a quick fix left to come down, not only do you get your final set of fuel, your final set of Firestone tires to get back out there on the racetrack as well, use up said quick fix, and you got a brand new car going out there for the final quarter of this race at the Brickyard. Now the eyes go to when does everybody else come down pit road. Down to 12 cars in the lead lap as the guys that have pitted have essentially fallen off in lead lap because it is such a long pit road down the very long front straightaway at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We look to the guy like Salicardi, who is now way out in front. Nobody else with him. The only guy with him was James Brown at the time. They made contact. James pitted. Now we got a caution flag, though. That's not good news for the guys that have pitted. A car is out in the grass for the third time tonight. Trouble for the 37 of Gordon Berkey. From 7 laps down, a self-spin incident down into corner number 1. Again, just overdrove it. The car got tight. He hit the fence, spun it out coming at it 2. We slowed them down. And for guys like Nathan Sedlak, James Brown, Kevin McCarthy, and company that just pitted, they are now forced to take a wave around and will lose all the track position that they have worked all race long to get to, and they'll find themselves at the back. This is assuming that nobody stays out. If we have one person stay out and he's in front of those guys on track, Carl, they will not be able to get the lead lap status back with the exclusion of our lucky dog.
Looks like Gordon Berkey is going to mercifully decide to bow out of the race. Now he is now left the server. He is gone for the night. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see what these guys are going to do. If, like you said, if everybody decides, if one car decides not to pit, that's going to stick these guys a lap down. But if everybody comes into the pits, that's going to give Kevin McCarthy, James Brown, and John Pansula that exactly what they need, that wave by on the last caution lap of this caution. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see who's going to come down pit road, who's going to stay out, and pretty much pin these guys a lap down.
So here comes Salicardi heading towards the pit lane. Borges will follow. Dominic Dyball will follow. Nathan Sedlak stays out. He's a lap down. Churchma's in. Doucette. Hacker is in as well. Damon Gilbert is on pit road. Patrick Bedoin is in. You got Joel Wood, Charles Starks, and Dan Bailey. All the leaders coming down the pit lane at the Brickyard for the final time this evening. And everybody else that has already pitted and got caught on that caution flag will get a wave round. We'll step away off the mics for a brief moment, come back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's crunch time in the JMP Custom Cycles 250 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Down to the final quarter, and a lot more still to play out.
outside contact made. 56 slides it at 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Cars are lined up on the grid. The Equinox.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn 1 for the first time.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
The green flag is back out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, now within what's going to be 23 laps to go. The JMP Custom Cycles 250 Chase Race 205 and the Season 5 Championship with the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Monday Series. Carl, it's been a very interesting race so far at the Brickyard. A lot of drivers have been beaten by the track so far. We get a side-by-side battle at the front of the field. Borges under attack. It's Dominic Dyball looking high.
Haven't seen the outside line work too well yet today. Don't look like it's going to work this time either, as Borges is going to take his car up the front there and block off the advances of the Dominic Dyball machine. Dominic's going to try it one more time. He's going to go to the outside, see if he can get around. Not going to happen, but he's going to have to watch out because Damon Gilbert is taking a look to his inside now, wanting that position. So Damon Gilbert and Dominic Dyball better get back here in line, or they might lose Brian Borges, because we've seen this before as... Thought I saw something happen on the back of the field. Never mind. But, yeah, we've seen this before where the leader just takes off with this race. And with Damon Gilbert and Dominic Dieball running side by side like that, racing as hard as they were taking a chance of losing Ryan Borges.
How about Michael Churchma? He was in the wall earlier on in this race. He sits in fourth. He's in a position that Gilbert and Dieball are trying to avoid, and that is losing the cars in front of him. The 88 machine sits a couple of car lengths off. Good news for him, they go side by side. To the inside on Dominic Dieball goes Damon Gilbert, and just as Churchma was about to fall off of the guys in that top three, he is right back on them. Issue is, they nearly were side by side for too long, Carl, because Borges started to sneak away. He'll be about a tenth of a second in front. They get single file in time, but if they fight for second, and they saw it right there, it's hard to beat Damon Gilbert. You want to try to make a move, but if you do so, we saw how quickly the race leader leaves when you're side by side for second. To the inside, look at the move. Dominic Dieball gets to the inside on Ryan Borges. Fakes high, ducks low. Can he get clear? No. Side by side still. Down at a corner, 1-2.
Dominic Dieball still sitting down here to the inside. He is going to try one more time coming down the backstretch here, see if he can make that pass stick. He is not going to be able to, as Ryan Borges is able to pull that car just up to the front there. Not able to come down, though. So here comes Dominic Dieball one more time down to the inside of Ryan Borges. Let's see if he's going to be able to do anything this time by. No, Ryan Borges is able now to get the car back down to the inside and protect that lead position.
So close to clearing Ryan Borges. Borges fights back on the defensive on the outside line. Damon Gilbert then tried to pass Dominic Dieball up high. Doesn't work. And that 15 machine slots into second. He gets tight off the corner. He's got to check up, and now Gilbert will go to the inside. Are they going to lose track of Ryan Borges, though? The 68 car slides up a slide job at an Indy car at a corner number 2. Move him to second. Dieball goes back to third. Michael Churchma still behind them, but they cannot let Ryan Borges get away. They single file back out, and then you see how quickly they track him back down. They have to keep in mind that the bigger picture is that 32 car.
This race is winding down. Now we are 84 laps into this event, and these guys now see Ryan Borges sitting up here in the lead. They know that they got to do something because this is going to give Ryan Borges all the points that they don't want him to have. Because you got drivers like Dominic Dieball and Michael Churchma sitting here. They are also looking to run up here for this points. That's hard impact on the outside wall.
And we were talking about that push. Now we got a caution.
Bad accident here. Back.
And Patrick Bedoin is turned around out of corner number 2 after contact with the outside wall, and it starts with a track beating a car. It was trouble for Nathan Sedlak, had to take the inside, and we talk about arcing the corner. There's places that I said that you're smart to make a pass, there's places that I said you really shouldn't, and that was probably one of those places. However, he also said that our leaders were lifting earlier. Didn't see any of that. It was go time. Sedlak went to the inside, Carl, and from coming in on the inside because it was side by side, there's no way he's making that corner, and he goes up, and if anything, thankfully for him, he hits Patrick Bedoin. That straightens him out. The unfortunate news for the number 18 team is that he gets clipped. I mean, he was almost clear, but the right rear tire just got him square on with the left front of that front wing, sent Patrick to the outside wall, nailed it, and then the suspension was pretty damaged. He came back up the hill and clipped the 00 of James Brown. Brown gets turned around, comes across the apron. Huge impact for James into the inside wall, and it ended up sending Patrick Bedoin up and over a couple of times after he went back, and the damaged right side tires climbed the fence at a corner number 2. We slow them down again, and now we work lap 86 again of 102. Technically a 100 lap affair, but again, we are still working with what appears to be right now about 16 laps to go from Indy, and I don't think this is the final caution flag we're going to see, Carl, if they race like they did again on that last stint.
Well, that seems to be it for Patrick Bedoin. He is in the pits now with heavy damage on his car. I believe this will be his third incident now, and he has used up all of his quick fixes. James Brown, he's also on pit road right now. He's got his car fixed. He did have one quick fix left. He is going to pull back on the track. He may be able to stay on the lead lap here. No, actually, I take that back. Looks like he is going to go a lap down now, and that's heartbreaking for James. He is another driver who had extremely high hopes for today's race. He was the one that I was telling you about, besides Kevin McCarthy, that said that he thinks that he could actually win one of his first races in an Indy car, and that looks like it might be out the window.
Good news for the number one camp and team that enters tonight to top the championship in that number one position. George Bark ended up 2 laps down after a couple of times in which he met the outside wall, both in corner number 1. Ended up falling 2 laps down, and unfortunately for him, again, the caution came out just a little bit after he elected to come down pit road under green to get that fixed. So it got him 2 laps down, took a wave by when everybody just pitted. Now he's back on a lead lap, Carl. He'll be scored in 14th position. He has a quick fix. Evidently, we know that he has a fast car, but this is, I don't think he's going to be able to go from 14th to 1st, I guess is what we should say. However, he can kind of try to limit the bleeding in the championship because things are oh so close at around 1. He has the advantage of entering this race atop the pile of everybody else, but he only entered tonight sitting in a position where he was only 5 points into this over Nick Doucette, 20 over Churchman and Borges. So far, all of those guys are sitting inside of the top 7 right now on the racetrack. So George Bark just trying to salvage tonight and then move on to Talladega next week, knowing what distance he has fallen back of and what he needs to do in the final 3 races.
Yeah, George is going to drop back to fourth. If this were to finish right now, he would drop back to 4th in the points, and that's not exactly what he was hoping for, I don't think, coming into this race. But I think he would rather drop to 4th than what the alternate could have been, because he was in a world of hurt in there for a while. Now he has a chance to at least make up some positions and maybe, like you said, stop the bleeding here and hopefully get himself back up to the point where he can say that he is still the points leader at the end of this event.
And it is still far from done. We can still see drivers like Borges, like Churchma, Sedlak, Doucette have issues. Not out of the realm of possibility. I said that I don't think this is going to be the final caution flag that we see in this event if they race like they just did, because they were really going at each other. We sit right now just inside of 15 laps to go. Carl Jones, I will put you on the spot, my friend. Who's going to win this race?
Yeah. At this rate, I'd say there's a good possibility that Dylan Eckhart from 3 Lap Down can win this race. Anybody can win this race the way it's going right now. But no, seriously, I'm gonna be pulling here, I think, for the Dieball machine there, the number 15 Dominic Dieball. He's had a strong car all day long. He's been able to keep it up here in the front. He's kept it clean all day long. And he's sitting right here in 3rd position. So I'm gonna say Dominic Dieball has a very good chance of winning this.
And he has scored right now 3rd, but we wouldn't anticipate that, depending on the way that things go on the restart, since he'll be on the inside of road 2. He'll be right behind Ryan Borges. He should be able to follow that number 32 car up through the bottom lane and then get into a spot where he should be the 2nd place car. We've seen that he has the speed, he has the ability to set him up, that being Ryan Borges, to try to make a pass. He was about 5 inches short of clearing that number 32 car earlier on in this event. He was able to hang on, but we know that he can set him up. I have to agree, and I think that Dominic Dieball could come in here, sneak in here, and play spoiler in this one. But Borges has the advantage of the track position. And again, we talked about Damon Gilbert when he was in 3rd. If Gilbert and Dieball, or Churchman and Dieball, or Churchman and Gilbert, whatever combination you wanted to be, the guys behind Ryan Borges, the second they start fighting with each other, Carl, Ryan's going to leave
over.
him. Yeah,
it's over,
and we saw that. They go side by side for a corner or 2. Borges goes 10 car lengths out. Now, if they single file out quickly, they can get back to him as the lights go on for the race car. But the key is that you can't let him get far away. So it's very difficult if you're the guy in 2nd to say, hey, don't pass me, and we're going to go up there and fight for the race leader. Because they're saying, I'll pass you and then get up there. But unfortunately, it may not work that way. So there is quite a bit of technicality that you have to approach this with. We sit with 14 cars on the lead lap all the way back to George Bark, who's finally back up here after starting in 3rd. A handful of guys that'll battle for a wave around the lucky dog position if we are to get another yellow. The 00 of James Brown is the first car 1 lap down. The second car 1 lap down is Patrick Bedoin. They are right next to each other on this restart. And then just two more rows behind them in 17th. The third car 1 lap down is Joel Wood. That could be a big position as well if they're able to get a wave around, get back to the lead lap. We have an incident or whatever if we get another caution in that final stint. And, they could even sneak away with the top 3. Or top 10, sorry. Top 3 would be good. But
top 3 would be great.
That would mean quite a big wreck, I think.
But I think one of the things they're going to have to be thinking about right now, and I know it's kind of a weird thing to be saying this late into a race, is patience. Let this come to you because, like you said, these guys get racing too hard side by side. This leader is going to just take off. He's going to be gone, and I think they're going to have to start thinking, big picture here, and start using a little bit more patience and try to keep on the back end of this Ryan Borges machine.
Green flag flies, Borges on the accelerator. Good restart on behalf of Damon Gilbert. Wasn't all that good, but it was a bad one for Dominic Dyball. However, the 15 car, faster through the gears, is able to get side by side. The fight's for P2, the fight is for P4. Down through 1 and 2, the 15 car is gonna get clear on the number 68 of Damon Gilbert. No, Gilbert is actually going to fight back on the outside. Will that hurt him, though, Carl? He could have dropped in line maybe behind Dominic that time down the straightaway. He continues to fight with him. If he can't clear him, there's not going to be a spotted line behind, and he gets the job done. Great move.
Well, they did gain a lot of ground there, even running side by side on Ryan Borges. I don't know if Ryan was just kind of playing it nice and easy, knowing that he has the lead, but that gave this to Damon Gilbert. Now, Damon's right up on his rear spoiler, and he's not able to do anything with him, but they didn't lose him fighting side by side like that. I was waiting to see Ryan Borges just drive away with these guys running side by side, but they were actually able to get right back up on him. Didn't lose too much ground, didn't lose any ground, as a matter of fact.
The draft is in full effect. You see the push draft, we'll call it. They're not really bumping, they're pushing each other with the air. And now caution flag is flown. We got trouble behind us. Somebody is flown off on the course, and it has not triggered an automatic caution flag, but race control will throw a caution flag as we slow them down on the front straightaway. The things up front had just gotten single filed out, and a caution comes in from the tower for an incident with the car that did not trigger an automatic caution flag. I think it is for the 79 of Joel Wood. He was 2 laps down, and now he's junked on pit road. He had a huge incident, Carl, at a corner 4. Looks like he may have gotten clipped by George Bark. Bark may have gone up the hill a little bit, clipped him. He found the fence, came down, and absolutely got obliterated on the inside wall, and he has ended up on his lid. He's down to the pit lane. We return to caution.
Yeah, it was George Bark there that I saw slowing down. I thought maybe he had something to do with it. And then I went to take a look to see who was on pit road, and sure enough, it was Joel Wood with a tremendous amount of damage on that car. And I believe he has used up his quick fixes because he's still sitting there on pit road, not able to do anything. Well, he did have to take a tow, so it will take a few moments for him to get back to the pit road to find out whether or not his car is going to have a quick fix or not. But, yeah, there was a considerable amount of damage there. The nose is gone. The rear wing is bent completely over sideways on that car. So the 79 machine has a lot of damage. He's sitting now 2 laps down on the racetrack.
And under this caution, can it be the final one this evening? We're going to be with inside 10 laps to go. We will step away one more time and go LSRTV side by side for the final time during racing conditions this evening. Inside 10 to go at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Who walks away with the checkered flag into JMP Custom Cycles 250 and Chase Race 205? Gonna have to find out on the other side. Back live on LSRTV, we're really getting down to crunch time. You're watching Cora, Championship Online Racing Association, Sunday money action, as always, Sunday evenings, along with Evan Pasoko and Carl Jones. Carl, the JMP Custom Cycles 250 is just about over with. I said it wasn't going to be the final caution flag that we saw. It wasn't. We're back under one right now, and the lights on the pace car do go out. We'll be coming to a restart to take lap number 96. That would be 5 laps to go. It's a 102-lap affair, though, so there will be 7 markers left on the scoring pylon before we go back green flag racing. It does leave us a small window of about 2 to 3 laps. It does give us the ability to have one more caution and a restart if we do get a yellow once we get to 4 laps to go and further on at that point. As long as it's not on the white flag lap, we will end under caution flag conditions.
All right, Evan, I'm going to put you on the spot now. After watching that last replay and watching everything that happened there, who is your pick for this race here? Because, like I said, I picked Dominic Dieball. I'm going to stick with it.
I liked your call of Dieball. I'm going to go with Ryan Borges and the fact that Borges has been strong. We've also seen Dieball and Gilbert make good moves. They've been able to get to the outside of Ryan Borges. But the 32, I think, he wants this too much. He's been in the wall tonight. He's nearly wrecked it tonight. He's up front. I feel like that 32 is not going to give it up for much. Now, this is not to say that, Damon Gilbert, Dominic Dieball may not try to make a move, and, they may end up wrecking into each other. But I think that if everything stays nice and clean up front for these guys, Ryan Borges is sitting in the wheelhouse right now by being that control car.
I always seen that more than once this season, too, of, people trying to make passes on the last lap, last corner of the last lap there, and it just didn't go the way they thought it to. Matter of fact, last week, Dominic Dieball went to make a pass there on that last lap, hit the lead car, who was at that point George Barks, who won the race, finished second, but Dominic Dieball did finish second in the wall. They had to actually push his car all the way back around to the start-finish line just to get his interview in here as they go back to green.
Green flag back out, 7 laps to go at Indianapolis. Who makes it home first? We're side by side for second as Ryan Borges takes off down to 1 and 2 all alone. On the outside, it's Damon Gilbert. On the inside, it's Dominic Dieball. Both
They're
of those
wrecking
green
again
cars,
on the back
16 to 15.
Wrecking again in the back of the field here.
Oh,
Looks like
big
there's
trouble.
about 3 or 4 cars just got over upside down, and it was just ugly.
Wood, Patrick Bedowen's upside down. Not the first time that he has had major issues tonight. We stay green at the front of the field. Now big trouble. Contact for P2. Damon Gilbert. He goes around. Oh, big hit. Down in 3 and 4. Caution flag flies. I said that Borges would get it if they stayed nice and clean. They did for the top spot, not for second, Carl. Contact after the 68 and the 15 met. And Gilbert was sideways in front of everybody. Overcorrected it. And a terrible lick coming flying through that one. For the car that was our feel-good story in this, George Bark comes through, left side tires get clipped. He ends up in the air and nearly nose first into the catch fence, and he does end up high into the fence and down in corner number 4. Caution flag is back out. And in that incident, plus the one that didn't trigger the yellow, a handful more cars have been destroyed. Caution's back out. Not for the, or rather for the final time, but it's not going to prevent us from going back green for one last restart. Borges will remain on the top spot. The question is Dieball at all injured by that contact that they made, and if that could affect the 15 machine at all?
Well, I've been watching the replay on here. I have it on my screen here. Been watching it several different times, and I don't see much damage at all to the Dieball machine. But I did see that Damon Gilbert just tried to get back down on the racetrack there. The back end of his car just went south on him. Nothing he could do about it. He couldn't catch it, and he just barely bumped the Dominic Dieball machine. So Dominic, I don't think is going to have any problems whatsoever. His car looks like it's going to be clean, and he's going to be able to finish this race off without any problems. And like you said, they are going to get one more lap of green flag racing on this. I do believe so. It's going to be another shootout to the end of this race. We've seen that many times this season.
There's going to be 15 of them on the lead lap. At least there are now. George Bark is in pit lane. He's one of those cars. He is not currently behind the wheel. He is pretty much done. How about Patrick Bedowen playing the, the role of the tow truck here? He's actually pushing Damon Gilbert around because both of those cars are nearly destroyed. They're trying to get the pit lane to get fixed. Very interesting.
Well, that's sportsmanship, if anything else. I mean, it's nice to see. You know, they're trying to help each other out here on the racetrack, and it looks like Gilbert is going to get a push here by Bordeaux, whose car is just about as damaged as Gilbert's car. So good sportsmanship out here on the racetrack, at least.
You can't argue against that regard because they're only going about 25 miles an hour. They're on the lead lap. However, bad news is the leaders are currently working down the back straightaway at a much faster pace than they are. So they really need to get going or they're going to lose their lead lap status. And you see Patrick Bedoin is really trying to give a shove to Damon Gilbert. I don't think they're going to be able to get this done in time because the pace car is headed into 3, Carl. In a perfect world, if they made it all the way as they exit 4, they would be able to come down, get a quick fix, stay on the lead lap. I think they'll make it to pit road, but I don't think they're going to be able to get that service in time because the pace car now already rounding out of 3. These guys have yet to hit the pit lane. It was a good effort, but I think they'll come up a little bit short and they'll fall a lap down. But that is great sportsmanship.
This is going to be a hard hit here for George Bark as he has now dropped completely out of the event. He left the server. George Bark and Joel Wood are both gone now. So this is going to really be a big hit for that points lead that he had coming into this race. So George Bark is going to fall back, probably more than back to 4th position now.
Any other pit road takers? Looks like Ronald Hacker is going to be coming down to the pit lane this time by. He comes in for service. James Brown is in, and then you have Damon Gilbert and Patrick Bedoin who come down and rather limp down the pit lane. The lights are still on the pace car. We do have 2 to go. Lights are going to go off, and it is going to be a restart for lap number 101. Technically lap number 99 if we want to sum it up like that. In our 100 lap event and 250 mile affair, it is going to be a green-white checker to decide this JMP Custom Cycles 250. The question, and it becomes, and we've seen it so far, is the battle for second really dictates the battle for the lead. We talk about how you fight for second, the leader gets away. There's been times tonight, Carl, where the guy on the inside of row 2 and 3rd, this would be Nathan Sedlak, is able to get to second easily by following the leader through. There's also other times where the guy on the outside of the front row is able to get it just by a good restart. Really, this restart is not only going to dictate it because we only have 2 laps, but it's going to dictate it because you really don't have a lot of time now to try to set something up on Ryan Borges. They've had time in the past to set something up, try to make a good calculated move, and they weren't able to finish that pass. So I don't see anybody here on a rushed attempt being able to successfully overtake that 32.
Well, we did see a couple of restarts ago here where Dominic Dyball was on the outside, and Dominic did try to make the pass on the outside. Didn't work for him, but he was able to get up there and stay beside Borges for several turns. I don't think he was more than maybe 2 laps, but it's going to be interesting now because Dominic Dyball is going to find himself to the outside now of Borges on this restart. Is he going to be able to do anything? He's going to have to time this just right and maybe see if he can do something going down this long straightaway at the start of this race. Maybe he can, don't want to make any passes before the start-finish line, but hopefully keep it side by side before they get into turn 1 and maybe be able to do something and get around him. But I don't know. This is, like you said, they don't have any time to set him up. They're going to have to make something happen.
There's not a lot of time to set it up. You just gotta go for it. Lights are now off. Let us know who you think is gonna walk away with the checkered flag at the Brickyard. Use the hashtag LSRTV or put down in the live YouTube comments as we get 1 to go. This could be a very exciting finish. Not only is the race up in the air, but as well, very, very, very important points in the championship are up in the air as well. We have seen times tonight, championship leaders, championship contenders, catch the wall and rebound. George Bark ran out of mulligans tonight, but there's other drivers, Ryan Borges being one of them, hit the fence and brought out a yellow at one point earlier in this race, Carl. Who would have thought when he was spinning down there in his own mind that he'd be leading this race with 2 to go?
Absolutely. Another driver here now is Nathan Sedlak. He has worked his way all the way up to the 3rd position. He's been running around 3rd and 4th position here the last couple of cautions. But he was one of the other drivers who had a lot of problems. He was back in the back of this field. And we thought maybe his chances were out of the equation today. But now he is going to be starting to the inside. And he's going to be right behind his teammate, Ryan Borges. So if he gets a good restart, maybe he has a chance of getting up here and taking this lead.
Well, it's about time to find out if we wreck in between the green flag and white flag There is no additional overtime. Green-white checkers non-existent in the iRacing service. This race will end behind the pace car. If we get to the white flag lap, doesn't matter how many cars wreck, the next man to cross the yard of bricks will walk away a winner in the Sunday Money Series. Borges, Dieball, Sedlak, Churchma, Doucette, the top 5. We're glad you stuck it out with us on LSRTV. A foggy day at the Brickyard is going to come to a close just moments away. Green flag flies as the pace car is down and away. Ryan Borges is off and running. We're back 2 laps to go at Indianapolis, and the top 3 quite spread out.
Ryan Borges got a really nice restart there, but here comes Dominic Dieball one more time. He falls into his slipstream. He's going to get right back up here. He has nobody challenging him for second place, so he's going to be able to stay right up here and maybe challenge Ryan Borges for this lead. He's going to take a look to the outside one more time. I said before, I haven't seen this outside work, but maybe it will this time as he gets a great run coming down here into the turn. He's going to stay side by side with Ryan Borges. Gets up and just taps the wall a little bit, but is able to make the pass for the lead.
And now to the top spot with the white flag in the air. Dominic Dieball comes up clutch. He leads it white flag at Indianapolis. Can Borges get back to him?
Coming out of turn number 1 here, coming down this little short chute into turn number 2. Ryan Borges is going to get right back up on his back end here, see if he can do anything. He's going to see if he can take a look to the inside maybe and see if he can make the pass. Dominic is making this car as wide as he possibly can, coming in here to turn number 3 for the last time.
Final time through. Dominic Dieball hauls the bottom. It's not going to be enough. Ryan Borges overdrives the corner. He's nearly in the fence. Sedlak going to pull a slide job for a second. Way to the inside for P2 goes Michael Churchma. But at the front of the field, Dominic Dieball, give him the checkered flag. He wins the JMP Custom Cycles 250 at the Brickyard. How about Michael Churchma? From 4th to 2nd in the final corner. Valuable championship points to that camp.
Ryan Borges, on the other hand, he fell from 2nd to 4th. Put Nathan Sedlak in 3rd, so we're going to have Dominic Dieball, Michael Churchman, Nathan Sedlak, our top 3. And you're absolutely right. This is just showing these guys are down to the last 3 races of this season. And as we see the pass for the win come up here now, and that's Dominic Dieball. He is going to make that hard pass to the outside. Just about gets it up to the outside wall there, but is able to keep it under control, make the pass, and bring it home for the win.
And as Dominic Dieball, Michael Churchma, and Nathan Sedlak pose on the yard of bricks as they finish on the podium this evening at Indianapolis, we step away and get set for the LSRTV post-race show from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dieball wins chase race 2 of 5. We'll talk to the men that made it exciting at the end on the other side.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Back live at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the post-race show on LSRTV getting underway. I've caught up with the driver that looked like he may have tried to steal it there at the end. He started 5th, he comes home 3rd, or with the driver, the 35, Nathan Sedlak. Nathan, first off, this race felt really long. In reality, it was pretty much 2 hours green to Checker, which is an average race length for a good size. It was a rough one. You guys had the fog out there. It seemed like the cars just got really tight. We saw a whole load of people hitting the wall throughout this one. How did you keep that 35 car in a spot that you'd be there at the end?
That was a struggle. I wanted to play the fuel strategy, which we played pretty good there. We don't have much fuel in it right now, so that worked out pretty good, hoping to be fast at the end, but it was really weird. The aero package, I don't know what it was, the weather combo, but when you would start pushing, there was nothing you could do. You couldn't take your foot off the gas. It would get worse. The only thing you could do is try and steer it with the throttle, but you pushed up on guys and everything else. It was weird for sure, and it made for some interesting moves and things. You had to go when you had to go, but it was tough. I went from the back to the front a couple times, and just glad to make up from last week. It was a rough finish last weekend.
You enter this one 6th in the championship, 24 markers off at the top spot. A lot of guys in front of you, though, had issues, including the championship leader, George Bark. He found 2 issues, and much like yourself, go to the back, come to the front. He was unable to finish there, though. He got caught up in another incident. You make up, some good points and continue on in this championship hunt there. Anything you feel like you could have done maybe differently coming down to that final restart? You found yourself stacked up in a position where you really had to capitalize on it. You were on the inside of row number 2, and you're able to sneak away with a 3rd place finish, but it looked like there for a brief moment, maybe on that white flag lap, you might have had something for him.
Yeah, I was hoping they get side by side. The one thing I changed is I just didn't get a good start behind Borges there when he took off. I hesitated for a second, and it was a little bit too much. I lost a lot of ground to them right off the beginning, but I was hoping to push him through, but it didn't work out that way. I got underneath him, and then that push happened, and then Michael got a good run on me, and that's that. But I'll take 3rd, like I said, just trying to recover and nibble along. We got a couple more plate tracks coming up in the chase, plus another run at Charlotte, so it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of different things that in this night can happen again to anybody.
We roll forward now. It's very hard to anticipate and prepare for these next 3 races, 2 of them in particular. We go to Talladega twice at a Cup car, but more importantly, in 1 week's time in the B cars. What are your thoughts going into that one, and how do you approach a super speedway race with the championship on the line?
Well, last year in the last race, it was at Talladega with the trucks, and I started 3rd in the points and somehow came out at the end by a 1-point margin and won the championship. So the Talladega and all that really throw everything up in the air. You don't know what's going to happen. It comes down to luck. With the new draft package, it's going to be a totally different race. We don't know what's going to happen. A lot of guys aren't used to it. It's tough to do. It's not easy. So we'll see what happens with the weather settings and things like that we'll have. But yeah, definitely get started on working on the B car and see what we got for next weekend.
Well, you guys put on a show for us this evening, Nathan. Before we let you go, sponsors and shout-outs, everybody that makes this kind of a run possible for you, the 35 and the team as well, on your hunt for a championship.
Well, Storm Motorsports and everything Cora does, all the guys in TeamSpeak that I was with, great job by everybody. We all had a rough up and down night, and all managed to bring it home pretty good. But yeah, shout out to Dom over there. Nice win. He really took Ryan, by storm there on the outside, and really made a good move, and that's pretty impressive. So good job to him, and just thanks to everything you guys do also.
Well, we thank you for taking a moment to talk with us, Nathan. Congratulations on the podium. We wish you the best of luck in your hunt for a championship this season.
Thank you, sir.
That is your 3rd place finisher again after starting in P5. Comes home, rounding out your podium, the 35 of Nathan Sedlak. Now down a little bit further down the pit lane with the driver of the 88, Michael Churchman. Carl Jones, you've caught up with that camp.
Yeah, I caught up with Michael Churchman down here. Great finish today, 2nd place. Running around out there in the 4th position, there for the last few laps of this race. What were your thoughts going through your mind there? Did you think you had anything for the win, or did you pretty much feel that you were going to be sitting there in 4th? And how big of a surprise was it when you came in 2nd?
Yeah, I got in trouble on the first part of the run with Dom actually, and got knocked back a little bit. Stayed on the lead lap and got back up closer to the front and just kind of watched what I was doing, and got to the end of the race there, got underneath Ryan and Nathan, my teammates, and I know I had, if not the car to beat, or better than Dom's, but I just ran out of laps.
Out here racing in some kind of some unfamiliar circumstances out here with the fog on the racetrack. What kind of effect did that have on you at all out there, if any? Did the fog make you approach this race any differently?
Not necessarily. It was a little bit different to see foggy weather, but no, it didn't really put me in a different perspective by anyway.
Well, you came into this race here third in the points, and this is going to help bolster that. I know we're getting to the end of the season here now. We only have a couple more races left. Going into Talladega next week, what kind of stuff are we going to be expecting out of the 88 crew?
Oh, we're going to try to be up towards the front for sure. I'm going to try to get a win. I got a good set there, and definitely going to help my teammates in the process to be up in the same position there. So, yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Well, you had a great finish tonight here, finishing second. Who do you got to thank for that?
I want to thank my teammates and Nathan and Ryan. They finished pretty good tonight. Dave Wank. I want to thank Storm Motorsports and Vortex Motorsports. And you guys for putting this on. You guys always do a great showing. Same thing with Cora. So glad to be part of it.
Well, congratulations on your second place finish, and thank you for taking the time to stop here and talk with me. And look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, 10-4. Thanks, guys.
That's our second place finisher, Michael Churchma.
And we are down in the infamous Gatorade victory lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We talked strategy. I said Borges. Carl said Dieball. And, well, the 15 team gets the job done. A pass at a green-white checker. Dominic Dieball, you win at the Brickyard and take home the checkered flag in the JMP Custom Cycles 250 in the chase. It was a wild race. It was not an easy journey to the front. You started 14th. You were stuck there behind the race leader for the longest time, trying to move here, trying to move there, and eventually you got the job done. How'd you get it done?
Gosh, just pit strategy and hard racing, man. Pit strategy and hard racing.
Was the fog a factor at all? Because besides making it hard for our cameras, did that really affect the way that you guys race it at all? And, you take a look at it, it was 100% humidity as well. Did that affect the race cars? Because we saw a lot of people were really, really tight.
After about 10, 15 laps, it really started getting tight, and I think it was just because you started going so much faster, and it was all week I couldn't control the corners as well as I'd like to have, and was having trouble, but once again today just came alive in the race.
You get the job done when it is all said and done, and it was not an easy thing to do. You look at this championship, you got guys around you, they're fighting for it all, and you come into this one 21 off of the top spot. A lot of guys had issues. It's a max points night for you. This 15 team's now right back in the conversation.
Well, tonight I'm kissing bricks and they're kicking sticks.
I like that, and that's exactly true. They're all gone because you guys pose on the front stretch. You're the only one left there. You sit atop the pile. Sponsors and shout-outs, all of those good people. Who makes this kind of a run possible, and who powered that number 15 machine to victory lane?
Wow, well, first and foremost, I got to give a shout-out to Wood Wrench and Wolfpack. I mean, great team of guys out here all the time practicing to make this happen. And, of course, the sponsors, Dieware and Small Town Computers, without them, none of this would have been possible. And, biggest shout out to Cora for all they've done in putting this on and making this all possible. And last but not least, you guys up in the booth making it happen. I swear it's what makes it exciting is turning around and watching this stuff afterwards.
Well, our job is a lot more exciting when you guys put on racing like that and when we have passes within 2 laps to go. That's what you did to get the job done tonight, Dominic. Congratulations and good luck not only next week at Talladega because, well, we all know how interesting those plate track races can be, but as well, we wish you the best of luck in your hunt for walking away with the championship in 3 weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Redeemed myself from last week, so wow.
And no better redemption than a trip to Victory Lane. Again, your winner this evening from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the JMP Custom Cycles 250 is Dominic Dodball. You called it, and I did it, Carl.
Yeah, it was great to see there. I was kind of pulling for him because Small Town Computers is one of his sponsors on his car there, and I kind of flipped a little bit of the bill there for that. But also want to congratulate Nathan Sedlak. He is our champion in the Indy cars. He did win the separate IndyCar championship for Cora, Championship Online Racing, so he will be bringing home that trophy this season.
The individual, obviously, vehicle championship in the books, and this is the final time that we would have seen these IndyCar 2011 chassis in action in Sunday Money competition. Before we leave the Brickyard, we pack up. I guess we'll just leave half of our stuff at Talladega because we got 2 out of the final 3 races to determine the championship in Lincoln, Alabama. Carl, what do we expect in 1 week's time with the beat cars at Dega for Chase Race 3 of 5?
Well, I'm going to have to pretty much echo what Nathan Sedlak said there with the new draft build that they have out there. Who knows? It's been quite a while since we've seen these guys out here on a super speedway like this and it's going to be the first time with the new build. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. You know, anything can happen out there on those super speedways, especially Talladega. Big, fast, wide track. These guys are going to be running 3-4 wide at times. Who knows? I mean, anything. It's up for grabs.
And it was an exciting one at Indianapolis, as we had come to expect it to be. Dominic Dodball is your winner in the JMP Custom Cycles 250 and 15 team. They are now right back in the mix in the hunt for the championship. With 3 races to go, we bid you a farewell from the Brickyard as, again, Dodball, Churchma, and Sedlak. The top 3 want to thank everybody at Cora that makes these things possible. Hurley Property Management, Small Town Computers, iRacing.com, TeamSpeak 3, and Bark Competition Karting. For more information online, go to Cora-Racing.com as well. Search that up on Facebook for everything Cora Sunday Money, as well as the broadcast crew tonight alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, Carl Jones, and Laura Lawson. One more congrats to the 15 camp. We got 3 races to determine a championship and Sunday Money action. We'll see you next week at the Talladega Superspeedway.